So we started something just a while ago doing deep dives on different topics. So we can go a little deeper and get a
Okay.
deeper understanding of how these work. And
Tracy,
so,
did you want to stop the recording or do you want to continue?
oh,
Continue.
thank,
We want to continue.
okay. Yeah, continue it. We'll stop it for the questions, but we're going to keep it going for deep dive. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of information here before I turn this over to Stephanie, because I want to open eyes. You might already know this. It's been in the news an awful lot, but in America, we are the gold standard in the world on pretty much everything except healthcare. Unless you're looking at, how much we spend on it. But really, it's so sad that our resources in our nation have led us to where we are. Right now, we have a doctor to patient ratio. We have one doctor for every 8 patients. That is the best in the world. Now, you go to Canada and you give those statistics. I mean, it's like 1 to 40 something up there. It's terrible, right? We have such great um, quantity of doctors. And we actually, sadly, we consume more meds in our country than all the other countries combined. That's a little shocking to me. We're ranked 40th in the world for health, the quality of our health. We are way down the list. If we got a report card, that's a failing grade, beyond failing. I mean, don't even waste the paper that's printed on. That's really sad. Worst health stats in our nation's history right now. Cancers, oh my goodness, on the rise, especially after COVID. They are seeing huge surges in cancers after COVID. Cardiovascular, autoimmune. I mean, it's like, what one do you have? It's a very popular club to be a part of, and that's sad. Obesity, that's not great. In cancer for our children, for the first time in our country's history, for kids aged 10 and up, it's now the #1 killer other than an accident. That, back in the 1950s, that was unheard of. Kids didn't get cancer. It's just not a great trend to be on. A lot of it comes down to what we put in our body, whether we choose to eat it, but are we forced to drink it? Are we forced to breathe it? Is it just around us in, household cleaners and many different things? Um, 75% of the people in our country, age 40 and up, have a chronic degenerative disease. That is really sad. We should be making headway on this. Our grandfathers and great grandfathers, they didn't face those kinds of things. It was kind of a rarity when somebody got something bad, right? What we're talking about tonight is how can we, turn these trends around? Let's not be these statistics. But the average lifespan in America is actually trending down. That's just a real recent thing. In 2019, 78.8 years was the average, excuse me. We are now at 77.5 years old in 2022. That's not a good trend. Let's not do that. Foundation of good health, whole foods, organic preferably, good, clean, fresh water. We want that stream water. Keep the minerals in the water. They're in the water for a reason to help our body absorb and hydrate into the cells. Light is critically important. And for those of us that live up here in Washington State, we have a deprivation of that light. And we have, the highest incidence of breast cancer and depression and suicide, and the list goes on and on. The lack of sunlight is very terrible for our body. Rest, critically important. You have to have a minimum of 7 hours. Exercise and stretching. We just got to move the body, get the blood flow. Bioavailable vitamins, but there's nothing better to get those vitamins than good quality food. And so I'm going to turn this over to Stephanie, and she's going to share with you some information. So Stephanie, would you like to, I'm going to stop sharing so that we can see you. And
Yeah, no, I'm so excited to be here. You guys, I just love your group. Everything that you guys are doing and the work that you're doing is awesome. And yeah, so my husband and I, we have our own health coaching business. We help moms, primarily busy moms, lose 15 plus pounds, regain their energy and their vitality, and just rediscover their best selves. So that's what my husband Eric and I do. And one of the main ways that we do that is through diet and exercise, and that's something I've always been really passionate about, is educating and advocating for real whole foods, and teaching people just how they can do that in, simple ways that they can do that. So I know she had popped up a few of my points there. My first point was leverage your meals. And so what I mean by that is, because the great thing about viewing food as your medicine is that it's something that you're already doing multiple times a day, or you should be eating multiple times a day. And so it's not something that you have to relearn how to restructure your whole life or do. You might need to make some tweaks, or make some changes there, but it is something that you're already doing. And so but yeah, it's pretty simple. Sometimes for a lot of people, it's just a matter of starting to read ingredient labels and getting to know those ingredients and making some swaps. I still do this to this day. I'll go through, sometimes companies will change, how they make something or do something. So it's really important to just constantly be reading those labels of things that you're purchasing, to make sure that you are really, know what you're getting in your food. And so, yeah, so that's something I still do today. I'll look, and if there's something it's like, oh, maybe I'm not really okay with that ingredient anymore, and I'll just look and see if there's something else out there. There's so many great companies, and just people working to improve our food that we're getting. I know there's some exciting stuff in the works lately. I don't know if you guys follow like Food Babe or anything like that. She's been working to get Kellogg's to take out their artificial food dyes and some of the chemicals and stuff out of the food. So that's pretty cool. So there is change happening. There are companies who are doing the right thing, and they are out there. You just have to go and look for them and just read those labels, start making those swaps. There's always going to be a good, better, best. And so it's just making those little changes. And I think the great thing too about using food, because it's the building blocks of our health, like the basis, especially, like you guys are using patches and stuff to do it, and it's reflecting that energy and that light for it. So when you feed your body good food and good water, it's just gonna accelerate that process so much more. And it's not something that has to take a long time. You can see progress, within days or weeks. You might not be healed of everything, but you can start to see those things start to change. I've when I was talking with Tracy for the first time, I was sharing her some of the things that I've seen over the years, and she's like, "Oh, you have to share this with everybody." And that was just a couple of my stories. I have my sister, my niece had a cavity, and she was like, "Oh, I don't really want to, go and do the whole dentist thing. Is there something that we can do?" And I was like, "Absolutely. You guys are already on the GAPS diet, which is a gut healing diet." And they had started on that. I was like, just go ahead and add more grass-fed butter and some cod liver oil. And so she did. They really increased, my niece, I think she was about 5 at the time, increased the grass-fed butter and then gave her a teaspoon of cod liver oil at every meal. And a month later, they went to the dentist. The dentist couldn't even find the hole in her tooth. So, and that's something that, we see that all the time. People don't realize you can regenerate your teeth, and it's amazing. And I see parents do it, and even just like gum issues and stuff, because when you start feeding your body those things and giving your body the tools it needs to repair, you can see a lot of progress. My mom, she was watching us do, all this stuff. She's like, "I don't know if I want to do like the whole diet and like change everything." But she's like, "Maybe I could just stop eating things out of a package." And so she did that. She just It stopped anything that was processed or packaged. And she realized she hadn't used her asthma inhaler in a couple of years. So just little changes. And that's it. My family is that we always felt like we were eating pretty well, but there's always little things that you can do to move that forward. Um, and so and yeah, so just seeing like kids too. I know in the last couple of months, I've had for a couple of examples of going the other way quickly. So I have had a couple of friends that I've heard from in the last few months that their kids had gone back to school, in September. They did pretty well over the summer, went back to school, and are just major gut issues. They were sending them with, homemade meals, but unbeknownst to them, in both cases, they were buying school lunches. And one of them is a young boy, 13, was sitting next to his friend at school, was bringing candy every day. And within the last couple of months, he's having major digestive issues, has started wetting the bed every so often. This is at 13. It's crazy. I'm like, what are they putting in their food? That's such a basic need, and we can't even get that right at the schools. And so this is why, if you know a parent or someone who's struggling, like, this is real happening, and that these are just a couple of people I hear from that, within a couple of months their kids are having this issue. So, but the good news is that you can reverse these things very quickly as well. So my second point there is food is more than calories and vitamins. I have seen there's a lot of work being done, a lot of science things showing that our attitudes and the way that we just think and approach our food and our water can have a big effect on its molecular structure, and how it has just a profound effect on what it does for our body, and physically and spiritually. And it, having I think having that connection to where our food is coming and what it took to get there. Because really, I just tell people, I'm like, how can you have true gratitude for something that you don't really even know how it got to your plate, right? And so understanding what it took, you know, for you to be able to enjoy that food, I think, is a big part. And so that's one of the things I really encourage people, if you can. Like, I grow a lot of my own vegetables, I grow a lot of my own meat, but just, you know, doing simple things, like you could even just go to Trader Joe's and get their little potted plant, the herbs there, and grow it in your windowsill. Use that to season your food. It just starts helping that to you to make those connections to where your food is coming from, to have that real like gratitude for where your food is coming from, what it's doing for your body. I think makes a huge difference. I know for a long time, a lot of cultures been really interested in studying different cultures and how they approach food. And it's really interesting because you see most cultures, they have their sacred foods, which are very nutrient dense. They understood that was like how they connected with others in their community. Is oftentimes part of their spiritual life. I know that there's a lot of cultures that really, where it's so funny, like in America, I've heard so many times parents are like, oh, my kids can eat this because they're young and they can handle it and their metabolism is good. This is so backwards, because there's so much, cultures throughout history who understood that those young people were going to be the ones, birthing and raising the next generation, and that it was so important. They would save those super nutrient dense foods to give to the young people to help them do that, to prepare their bodies for raising the next generation. And so I just love, you know, whatever your ancestral background is, I love when people go and study their ancestral background and like just see like what are some of those foods that were held, you know, in high esteem in your cultures, because almost every culture has like some form of fermented foods. They have some sort of a lot of them have like some sort of raw meat that they were getting like the full nutrient value out of. And so, and some of this stuff might not sound great to you, but just at least go and discover. I just think it's so good when we at least have that spark of curiosity of like just to investigate what are things that people for, you know, hundreds of thousands of years have been using to build good health, right? And so, and then my last point there was just to creating a symphony of health. And this is really, when I was putting this together, I felt like this was one of the most important points, and why I love your group and the people that are discovering what you guys are doing with the patches, with food. It's about putting it all together. It's not just one thing. That one, like that idea of the one thing is a very allopathic, conventional medicine way of thinking. You know, just like if I do this, you know, take this one vitamin or like this one medication or whatever, and I'll be fine. But it's really about putting all of this stuff together, your food and getting sunlight, like Tracy was saying, and your good sleep and all of that stuff. It all works together, because we all know people who've done crash diets or crash detoxes or whatever, and it doesn't bring lasting results, right? And so it's really changing our lifestyle and the things that we're investigating, and you know, those little steps that we take to move our health forward and put all of this together to create that beautiful harmony of good health. And I am just so excited for you guys to see where you go. I think that, you know, right now there's a lot of stuff changing in, especially in like the holistic health spaces. And I think that you guys are just perfectly positioned to help your family and your friends and your community really put all this stuff together to just experience the fullness of life that I believe God wants us to experience. So thank you for having me tonight. I really appreciate it. I know that's really fast. But
Oh, you did great, Stephanie. Thank you so much. I'm just still amazed. And I wish my mom was you, because do you know how many times I had to go in that dentist chair? Scared to death. I wanted to mention, if you'd like to put your name and phone number, Stephanie, in chat, in case anybody would like to talk to you further, then
I
they
did
could.
that for you.
Oh,
oh,
perfect.
did you
Thanks,
Go
Stephanie.
ahead.
All
Yeah.
right, perfect. I'm going to let Joy take it from here.
Okay, so just to continue on with what Stephanie said is there are certain foods that cause inflammation in our body and cause our body not to function as well. And some of those things are GMO products, fried foods, some different dairy products, meat that is not organic, sugars, and different things like that. So the different foods that we eat, our environment and everything, it can cause us to have low mitochondrial function, energy issues, cells that are not created correctly. And we store excess toxins in our fat that our body is not able to actually express in its normal way. And so when you have a little extra around your middle or different places, love that fat, because it is actually protecting us. And in order to actually have your brain and body able to release that fat, you have to be able to get rid of the toxins. So there are different things that you can do to help detox your body. And we'll talk about some of the patches that can help with that in a few minutes. Cells are meant to repair themselves. We actually are creating new cells on a continual basis. Every 28 days, we actually create a new intestinal tract. And when we have toxins that are built up in our body is not able to actually replicate correctly those new cells, and it's not able to actually clear the toxins that we have. And we need to have food that has nutrients that can actually create the new cells that we need to have in our body. So we need to have the building blocks in our body to create new healthy cells. So let's talk about Eon for a minute. This is one of our patches that we have that actually helps reduce inflammation in our body. And in today's world, most of us have chronic inflammation that we have on a daily basis. And this actually helps to produce a thing like the queen bee peptide that actually reduces inflammation in our body. And you can see just a few minutes after putting a patch on the difference in a thermography study. Here, the upper one pictures actually show the heat signature of inflammation, and then after 5 minutes after putting an Eon patch on, how much reduction you can have in inflammation in your body. The Eon patch also helps with stress reduction, which overall helps our body as far as creating new cells and functioning better. Let's talk about glutathione now. Glutathione is a master detoxifier. It helps detox the body's pathways. It helps with boosting immune function. And there are multiple different things that deficiency in glutathione are linked to. And if you see this graphic, it shows all kinds of things. I mean, Alzheimer's disease, asthma, autism, depression, diabetes, hypertension, gout, arthritis. All of these have been linked to glutathione deficiency. And glutathione, when you wear the patch, it actually boosts your glutathione production 300% over 24 hours. One of the things that we actually suggest people do after starting the patches is to do a gut regeneration. And the reason we actually suggest that people do this is because when you're able to reduce the inflammation in your gut, when you're able to detoxify your gut, when you're able to balance your hormones and actually reduce cravings and addictions, you're able to actually absorb the nutrients that you're putting in your body better. So your body is going to have more nutrients, it's going to have more vitamins, it's going to have more minerals in order to create healthy cells. Here's some pictures of Tracy's bonus daughter. Sorry. And this shows she actually was suffering from GERD, and she was not able to keep food down. She had been puking for several days, and she was actually our guinea pig for the gut regeneration system. She came over to Tracy's, and she'd been so sick, and Tracy had just listened to a video on the gut regeneration system, and she's like, let's just try this. Let's just see what this does and how it can help you. And she put the patches on, and amazingly enough, within a very short time, it's an 18-day to 90-day system. She had lost 35 pounds in the first 18 days. By the third day, she was able to eat. She hadn't been puking. She was starting to feel better. And then you can see here a few months later, how well she looks, and she was able to sleep better. She was calmer. She was a totally different person, and it continued to work from the first 18 days of rebuilding her gut. She was able to continue to lose weight, till she, by April, lost 70 pounds. And I believe now she's lost 100. And so it's very interesting and very cool how when you just help rebuild your gut, when you give your body the chance to actually do what is it's intended to do and reset itself, you can go from being very unhealthy and very sick and not able to keep food down in September to 6-7 months later, having amazing results, being down 70 pounds, and not suffering from the depression and different things that she was suffering from.
And she sleeps now, you guys. You don't know this since she was a little girl. She's not been able to sleep. She's had anxiety and it's just been a battle. And this has changed her life. So exciting.
So they're finding now in studies that, we thought that a lot of our feel-good hormones were made in our brain, and they are. However, they're finding that more and more of them are actually created in our gut. And so when our gut is not healthy, we are not healthy. We are not able to be mentally healthy because our serotonin production is not able to happen in our gut like it needs to. And so when we're able to actually clean out our gut, when we're able to take the inflammation down, when we're able to give our gut the nutrients that it needs to actually build healthy cells every 28 days when it regenerates, it's amazing how well our brain can function, how it changes our mood and our ability to life, and how it helps our overall body function. And it also helps the efficacy of how well the patches work, because as you're able to have more building blocks in your body that you need to actually have good cell creation, the patches are able to do their job and signal the body to have the pattern of cell creation that it needs to have for each specific thing. So the patches help the body to find homeostasis. It helps the body to release the toxins. It helps to deal with the environment that we live in now that is not the natural environment that our bodies were created for. It's able to help the epigenetics we have, that we carry 14 generations of trauma in our body. That's what the studies are showing, is that we carry all of these things from our ancestors above our DNA. So the switches that we've turned on in our DNA, we are able to reverse that, and we are able to reset that within 24 to 48 hours of wearing the patches. A third of our genes are reset to a younger, healthier state. That is huge. That's huge in the study of epigenetics, because it actually helps reset the body to be able to know the directions for coding cells and making new cells. And the timeline of how this happens for each individual body is going to be different, because it depends on your epigenetics. It depends on what your environment has been. It depends on what your environment continues to be. When I was trying to get my brain to heal from a concussion, I had gone, as chemical or free and organic as possible, trying to give my brain as much chance to help. And the patches actually were the catalysts that actually were able to heal my body, because I had done detoxes and I had all of the different things in my body that it needed as the resources to build good, healthy cells. So I just want to say that for anybody who is, not seeing whatever results they intended to have, the patches are working in your body. You just need to give them time. You need to make sure that you drink enough water. You need half your body weight in ounces of water per day. And you need to make sure that you have bioavailable vitamins and minerals in your body.
Well, good job, Joy. So much good information. And wow, the favorite thing for me of doing this and sharing with people is just watching